Hello, everybody. Welcome to Mount Schmoedown. This is This is definitely a special episode for all of us, and of course, if you're tuning in, your eyes are definitely not deceiving you. All three of us are now together again.
Hey!
And all three of us are together again. It's Ben, myself, and John. We're all here to ride this ship or be your guides as we are going to be talking about the Schmoedown. But as I said before, this is a special episode because with us today we have a very special guest with us. It is the Den Mother herself, pretty much one of the highlights of SCN, and one of the stars of the Brett and Kate's play date, Kate Mulligan.
That's even debatable. I might just be a co-host on that. Brett is the real star of everything he's in. Let's be honest. Who's better than that guy, you guys? Who's better?
I mean, it is a difficult question to ask because with the rotating panel that's been on SCN lately, I'm saying I can nearly see almost every one of them being on Brett on the play date.
Yes. How's it going with you guys?
It's going good for the most part and everything. Just been busy and everything. That's why I wasn't on here as much. I had some family emergencies, stuff like that. So it was just good to be back with friends. Nah, it's okay. Life, like Ryan says, life happens.
Yeah.
With things, you know.
I mean, best we can always do is just, don't try to fight. I mean, just work our way through it, and then we get back to some sense of normalcy, honestly.
Absolutely.
How are you doing, Kate?
I'm doing good. It was I do owe you and your fans all an apology for the show I missed. I was just saying that I had found out I had a little infestation of something called a carpet beetle that if you leave stacks of clothes will eat through your clothes. So I got very lost in that, but that seems to be handled right now. But obviously I am a garbage person. Let's be honest. Who lets carpet beetles infest?
Honestly, you're handling it more better than my siblings when it comes with finding out that we have a rat in the garage. It's just more of like they see it, they shut the door, they will not go out there while one of us has to brave ourselves and go, okay, where is it? And our garage is lit. In our garage is kind of half a storage container and half a used car shop because we have a broken down car in there that's not going anywhere. So we literally have 3 tiny walk areas. And if we see any semblance of rat droppings, it's just more of, we have to start learning. We have to start doing yoga to start squeezing just to bend down and stretch.
I have a story for you. Have you guys ever had a bird flew in your house before?
A what in your house?
A bird?
A bird.
No.
I mean, came close once with the hummingbird, but they're much smarter. So when it realized that there was nothing for it to feed on, it just flew away from the screen door.
How did it get in, Ben?
The back door was open and it just flew in one day. It was it was wild. It was
how and it's gone now, or it's not a pet bird?
No, it was only in the actual house for like 15 or 20 minutes.
Oh my gosh, but that's unnerving. Yeah.
Yeah. It was weird. But
I mean, it eventually flew out, which is a good story. Not like when you have if an animal comes in, or if a lizard, you find a lizard in your kitchen, it's just gonna easily squeeze underneath any open cracked areas, and you won't even know if it's gone.
Nope. I know. We've had lizards in our house, and we have like an outdoor breezeway, and we always get hummingbirds. So it's like it's not enclosed, but it's there's a roof over it. So there's a skylight out there, and we've had more hummingbirds get stuck up there because they think it's like the sky. They're like, I'm gonna go to the sky, and like they'll exhaust themselves until they die. So I have to get them to come onto a broom, and then I have to bring them down and try and get them out. It's like because they just, I didn't know that about hummingbirds, but they could really they can die of exhaustion if they are at the same thing. Yeah. Well, that's what the guy that lived here before me told me. He's like, And it was like so sweet that was like one of the things he wanted me to know. He's like, if you ever see a hummingbird in there, you got to get them down. He's like, they tend to try and go in there. And I've had it happen twice in the 4 years we've been here. So
you may actually hummingbird.
You know what? I think there is a low. It doesn't sound like, but there's like
it's not like very
wings,
audible.
Yeah, like
they're
the
really
wings.
close by.
Yes, yeah, like the wings sort of like, because they're flapping so fast, they sort of have like a flutter. Apparently, somebody told me there's a place out here in LA somewhere like that. There's just a bunch of wild hummingbirds, and it actually sounds like electrical wires. It almost sounds like when you're by like power lines, because the sound of the wings, like, and there's so many of them in that area that the sound of the wings, like, they actually make an audible sound. Anyway.
Yeah,
Bet you didn't think you were going to get that science lesson.
Well, no, welcome to Bird Talk, everyone.
The more you know.
All about birds.
I know the zoo in San Diego. I remember they used to have like one of those special area for birds, and I think once one of the coworkers had like this little. They had this one specially designed window, so when there was hummingbirds in there, you can press your ear up against it. And yeah, there was a lot, even though there was like maybe 10, like a cornucopia of hummingbirds in there.
Yeah. So
you could hear the humming, but I think he said one of the special times when they were sleeping and there was one awake, then you can actually hear an actual hummingbird. So,
wow. Because that is interesting. So then maybe my story. Okay, sorry guys.
Thank you
guys for joining us on Bird Talk. I gave bad bird information. Somebody told me about that place. It's like on Tahunga or something. Anyway, but maybe more birds is not better.
No.
Who knew?
I mean, as long as you don't encounter, I mean, from the area I live in, the only bird I've come very close to encountering may have been a hawk, and that was like, no. Just no, thank you.
We've got them all over this area. Because we're in the Burbank, sort of in the hill area. Man, it's they're all over. There's coyotes.
I never thought I'd ever have to be wearing caps leaving my house until one day you find a bird just wanting to just easily swoop over your head. I'm going, what was that for? Then neighbor tells me, oh, they're territorial. They think you're trying to rein in territory. I'm just going to my car.
Yeah. Also, this is my house. He's on my territory.
Yeah, I go to take out the trash cans. I could end up with a couple of claw marks in my head. Yeah, no, thank you.
Let's see. I didn't have any birds that ran into my house, flew into my house, or anything like that. But over in the nursing home that I work at, I remember I was working housekeeping at the time. There was a bird that flew into this one green room area. And I got paged for them, like, I'm not animal control.
Yeah.
And me and this other housekeeper I'm not a housekeeper anymore, but me and this other housekeeper had to go in and try and get this bird out of here. I'm like, dude, I said, we need to just call wildlife or something. He goes, no, we can do this. I'm like, I was like, I'm 5'5", you're 6 foot. You have more of a reach than I do. There's no we. There's only you.
There's a you. John, how has it been? I mean, you are one of the unspoken heroes of this pandemic. I know we're not supposed to say pandemic, but working in a nursing home. My gosh, that must have been so taxing on you to be working in a nursing home during all of this.
Well, our nursing home is also connected to an ER and hospital too. Okay. So it's like, think of Halloween, but with Michael Myers with the small hospital setting. That's basically what our nursing home and everything looks like. And I actually am a purchasing assistant for the nursing home and hospital and stuff like that too. And I give out the supplies and things like that. I do the behind the scenes stuff that the nurses and everything else has to take care of. But it has been hell, to be honest with you.
I'm so sorry. I can only imagine.
Because we're trying to keep our residents safe. Then you have other things that's going on within the building where you have some people that don't care about the safety of others either, that's in our facility either, and it's heartbreaking because I'm doing my social distancing, I'm putting on my mask, I'm vaccinated, I'm doing it, I'm doing everything right, and then it just irritates me when some people are just being douchebags and ball bags, like Christian would say. But you know, I'm just doing my 3 to 11 job, clocking in, doing what I can do for the residents, helping them out, joking with them, trying to just be there for them because of the fact with their families. And the cool thing is we're not letting anybody into our building,
Well,
but
that's what
we
I was
are
wondering. Yeah.
right. But the families are actually driving up to the back door and everything to see their family members, and we would bring them over to see their family members and stuff.
Oh, I love that.
So we are doing, one thing is I live in a little small town.
Yeah.
So we are a small community. So we try to do everything we can to make everybody feel welcome. So that's one of the things that we try to do, is try to figure out a way that where they can still have their families and everything. So it's been hectic, but it's been
a long time. I mean, this has been a long time for you. Anyway, let's shout out to John, a true hero in this community. My God, for real.
Yeah, I know. No, I definitely share Kate's sentiments there, John. I mean, you've definitely been having a lot on your hands, so you couldn't dedicate your time. But we're like, no, you were definitely taking care of your community. You were definitely protecting your home as well, especially with the whole. I mean, the freaking hurricane watch that was happening.
Yeah, we also had to deal with the hurricane. Yeah, and then my girlfriend, her son is autistic and everything, and he got diagnosed with COVID and everything.
Oh.
And then I wasn't able to see them for about a month. And everything, because then the hurricane came, because remember I was going to take some time off to go spend time with her.
And then personal day, and then that happens. I mean, literally life was throwing you into a freaking hurricane, but you weathered yourself.
Right.
I mean, movie reference, but you're like that scene in Twister where Bill Paxton and oh my God, Helen Hunt are tying themselves onto that little valve, and you're just holding steady.
Yeah. Wrap it around.
I was just trying to keep everybody sane, trying to keep everything going and everything, and trying to be the strong one. And, just try and take a deep breath and be like, hey, look, don't panic. We're going to get through this. We're going to figure out a way to where we can come together and have something cohesive to where we can actually communicate. And we got through it and everything. So
did you, leave it to me, especially on September 11th, right, Ben, for me to bring the mood down. But did you lose a lot of the residents at the home?
To be honest with you, I wasn't working during that time. I was actually 15, 16 years old at the time. Taking my driver's ed test.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean during September 11th. That was a joke for Ben, because he knows he knows how much I talk about. No, I mean during the pandemic, did you lose a lot of residents?
To be honest with you, no. We didn't even lose any of the residents or anything like that. We quarantined them if they had anything or whatever.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear that. Okay.
So we were able to take care of our patients and everything just fine. Good. So we got them the proper care.
To a hospital.
Yeah, it definitely does. And we also have rooms to where they can go, like we call them hot rooms because of the fact. And we take them to the hot hall and they get treated, and somebody's sitting there outside in the hallway if they need anything.
Yeah.
Too.
Okay,
so
good.
I've been at the hospital for about 15, 20 years, to be honest with you. It was my first job. I was 19 years old. And to be honest with you, I wanted to work at like a video store, Hot Topic, somewhere other than a nursing home.
Yeah.
I remember being hired on as a housekeeper at first, and my boss at the time, he's like, you got the job. I'm like, shit. He goes, what? Nothing. Thank you. So, I've been
no
on
time to think about it. It's just like, here, job is yours. You start in 6 hours. Oh, thank you very much.
Right. But I would never have thought that I would actually find myself at the place that I'm at, and being so blessed to actually work with the people that I work with, and also too seeing the residents and stuff like that, and getting attached to the residents. And I still take care of this one resident from time to time, but I can't go in his room or anything now. But I used to take care of his electronic equipment, his PlayStation and stuff like that. And just trying to take care of them.
You guys, I know I keep commandeering this. I have no more bad questions to ask. I know you have your own stuff. I know you have your own agenda. I'll let you get to it. But John, have you ever seen
a natural conversation? If we were pivot, it's gonna be this
okay.
Like,
John, have you ever seen, or have any of you, I guess, ever seen the TV show Derek, the Ricky Gervais show?
No, I haven't, but I remember when I was on Hotel Nerd and everything, you brought that up.
Yes.
I was there when you brought that up.
I'm very redundant.
No. You're perfectly fine, because I still want to see that. The only Ricky Gervais show that I've seen recently is the one where he loses his wife
Yes.
Everything due to cancer. I'm loving the show.
Isn't
Afterlife.
He's a really Afterlife. Yes, he's really a brilliant actor. But Derek, I think if you're coming off of like extras or if you're coming off of anything else, you would think like, what is he doing? Is he making fun of? Like, is he making fun of a differently abled person? What is he? But you just, as the more you get into it, you're like, oh, but it's all about a nursing home. It's the whole thing takes place. I think you might, I don't know, check it out if it's too close to
I've
home.
been giving it an extra chance because I watched maybe 2 or 3 episodes. I don't know if it was like dark humor or something like that, but it was just something. It wasn't fitting for me.
Yeah.
You see, I love dark humor. I'm into like dark humor and stuff like that. I mean, come on, I'm wearing a Sopranos t-shirt for crying out loud. So I mean,
I know. I was like, is this? It's your shirt says "Talking Sopranos." I'm like, oh, that's Christian Harloff's shirt, obviously, because that's all he does is talk.
Yeah,
Sopranos.
I forgot. I borrowed it from him and everything. I have to return it later.
Yeah, you gotta send that back.
Have you guys seen that comedy movie with Lincoln Gervais, Ghost Town?
No.
Oh, I know the one you're talking about. I honestly I didn't see the whole thing, but it was just a weird situation. I was at the time in a college dorm. I just remember that movie came on the channel. I was watching it, and I take a step away just to go to a snack machine. I come back, students come in and they commandeer the TV. Guys, I'm watching something here, and they're like, give us a couple minutes. They turn back, and then it gets to the end of the film. I'm like, I just missed a good chunk of it. But
I like that movie.
It's a good film.
I've seen it.
He has an operation, and he dies for like a few minutes, and then they bring him back, and for most of the movie,
he sees ghosts. Yeah,
he sees ghosts and has conversations with them.
But the thing is, his character is a bit of a prick. He's a
I feel like that's who he plays. With the exception of Derek, I feel like he always plays. He's sort of like a Larry David, like always kind of playing a dick.
But the thing is, they approach the situation in a very like he goes into a hospital, and then all of a sudden he wakes up, and then the attendant and then a doctor comes in. They present him with these papers not to the hospital. He's like, "Why would I see you guys?" And then they said, "Well, during mid of the procedure, you died." Wait, what? And that's how they play it. The whole thing is he died, and then he goes home. The next morning he wakes up. He sees a nude man in front of him. He's like, what the hell? And he's like, and he's just talking his ear off. He thought there was some intruder until he realizes, oh my God, I'm talking to ghosts. And all these ghosts want to do is they want to talk to him because they're dead and they can't go anywhere.
Oh and then my God, that's so funny.
Midway towards the film, it turns into one of the ghosts like, okay, if you don't want to talk to us anymore, I want you to help my wife move on. And it turns out the wife that he goes to help happened to be someone that he was a dick to early in the movie. So
oh my God. That is so funny. I haven't seen that. It's called Ghost Town?
Yep.
I heard of it. I haven't seen it.
It's Lincoln Gervais, Greg Kinnear, and Téa
Leoni. Yeah.
Oh wow. I love Greg Kinnear, I have to say.
I mean, there's a lot of good comedy talent in there. I can't remember all of them. I think the new ghost is Stephen Merchant, or I think it's somebody else. It's just, I'm obsessed with this to where I'm going to look it up. So
Kristen Wiig has a small part as one of the doctors.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I love her. She's my favorite. I love Kristen Wiig. I can't believe she has a small part. Give that woman a lead. Hello.
It was in her career.
Okay. So it was early on.
So welcome to Ghost Talk.
I'm really looking it up. I'm like, was Stephen Merchant in this, or is it just in my mind?
Welcome to Bird Talk. Welcome
on this. I don't want to obsess with this. But seriously, it's really glad that you're here with us, Kate. I mean,
thank you for having me.
Yes, we're really glad. I mean, to be honest, there was so much we could have. I mean, yeah, like you did say earlier, we did have like this whole thing planned out with us, but we're like, we're just gonna go in here and be natural. And I did like how with you and your role in the Schmoedown, how you have been able to really, like, you just, in a way, kind of like what John, when you say with John getting your job at the hospital, you becoming a manager in the Schmoedown was just something that was just given to you, and you just took that ball, you ran with it, and you you honestly, in my mind, you've made it to where you actually are one of the best standouts of the Schmoedown from last season and this season.
Oh wow, that's really kind of you to say, Ryan. I've got a lot of work to do as far as managing goes, but I do feel like I definitely yeah, it's the same thing with, you know, like Christian asked me, I said, yeah, okay, what does that entail? I don't think, you know, I think there's as I said, I have a lot of areas for improvement. I do think that, like, you know, you look at these other managers and you know, I think I'm a good fit for a bunch of my people. And I know that next year sort of changes all that, but like when you draft somebody, you don't know, like, am I going to be a good fit or not? And somebody like, I'm not, no spoilers or anything, but like somebody like a Thomas Harper, like I knew I was drafting him because I thought he was a genius. I think I was right. But I don't know that he and I are going to mesh, because I honestly, God, I never even called the dude before. I was just like, that's my guy. Like, that's who I want. And I feel like, I don't know. I just feel like that it's always a bonus when then it does work out, you know? And I think there are probably some people that, like, I should be doing more for, you know. Thomas, it's the reason that he and I do work out is because, like, you know, we're friends now, but also because he needs Star Wars minds to be asking him questions. So it's not like I'm letting him down if I'm not organizing training. So, you know, he's very capable. He'll be like, tonight we're doing Force Awakens. Who's with me? Who's writing? Okay, I'm gonna question, you know, you do it. Like, I'm gonna ask you last. So it's great because I think I'm more of an in-match manager than I am like a behind the scenes. But that being said, I do feel like there have been times that I've been able to, behind the scenes, also like advocate for a player, or, you know, I will go to bat. Like, you know, there was a whole thing at some point where, like, you know, no dry erase boards during the other, and, you know, I was like, that's not going to work. Sorry. You know, like, and so I've been able to do some things behind the scenes, but I think, like, you look at like a Shannon, who I feel like is, or a Winston, you know, I feel like are in those sessions with the players. And that is not really a great service that I can offer, unfortunately. So, but yeah, I've really enjoyed, it's a lot of work though. I mean, there's like, especially in this tournament season, it's like, my husband happened to be off of work this week. And he was just like, you have another match, you have another match, you have another match. Like, I was like, and it was like, well, no, but now I have the show, and now I've got the big thing. And now it is funny how busy, when you've got this many people in a faction, how busy you are. I think next year is going to really change all of that. If what I think is happening is happening.
That's very true, though. I mean, when you think about it, you don't realize what goes into doing all these shows on a podcast and stuff like that, and time consuming it actually is. That's just the way life is. Then you actually have to try and schedule other things around it and everything. But going off of what you said, though, about not doing behind the scenes stuff and things like that as much and stuff like that, to me, I think you do a great job being up front and center, just helping your faction just stay calm in the pocket. Be like, hey, look, you got this, you know the answers. So what if you miss maybe one question out of round one? Let's just focus on the next question, or focus on the next round. You do a great job of trying to keep them calm. And that's the perfect position for you, to be honest with you, because of the fact, you know, you were once the den mother, and that's exactly what you're doing. You're calming them and helping them and nurturing them, and also helping them through the process of it, especially with the new rookies coming in and everything. You're doing a fantastic job at what you're doing. And
well, thank you. I appreciate
you're very welcome.
It. Thank you.
Because seriously.
Oh, I'm sorry for interrupting.
No. Go ahead, Ryan.
I was gonna bounce off you, man. I was just saying, the game has changed a lot. I mean, it's always going through different, like, slight variations to where a player can be tripped up, especially with the constant questions being thrown out, to where a million things can be running through a player's mind while playing. And being the in-match manager that you are is very important, because sometimes it just takes, going into that final round where a player thinks it's all over, for you just give some encouraging words of advice, or just to calm them down, make them realize it's not over until you hear and you're winner. And there have been matches to where we've seen, like, definite victories all of a sudden be cut down because, so they didn't know if they were the 5-pointer, or somebody was able to, I mean, I see so many times in the live chat where everyone thinks, oh, someone got some steals in round 2, it's over. But I'm like, no, it's not. This person can miss their 5-pointer, and then that's game.
Oh, I mean, those 5-pointers have been so. I feel like I would love to know percentage of matches this year that 5-pointers determined, because we know the answer is like none for Saul. None of Saul's matches this year. Like, so we know that. Okay, so we know at least. But like I feel like that 5-pointer. And sometimes it works in my favor, but I got to tell you, this is a question for the fans, I guess. Does it bother you guys as much as it bothers me when somebody is playing at it's never the way I want to win. It's definitely not the way I want to lose, where somebody's playing a better match and it just comes down to the 5-pointer. I think it's probably what makes it exciting, but I'm always like, what the? Like I don't like winning that way, even though a win is a win. But losing that way, being like, we're ahead. You didn't know your 5-pointer, son of a bitch. And that's you could be up 4 points, and the whole match, you could just be accruing points that you're up. And if you don't hit that 5, man,
it is a ball bust. It is like cutting underneath the legs. It does suck. I've seen that. Like from the studio match. I've seen that at live shows. Recently at one of the Scum Villainy tapings, and I've seen it so many times where it feels like, oh, this is it. I'm doing great. I'm doing a good job. And then all of a sudden you hear that question, and it's just, please, I hope you know this. What? No. Like, I understand the entertainment value there, but I mean,
I understand it, but
look on their faces when they realize they don't know the question, or it's just kind of like they're going through their mind trying to be being a detective, or trying to be like a librarian, trying to like comb through their minds of movie trivia knowledge. It's just like you literally can empathize with them in that moment, and it really sucks.
Yeah.
I'm playing a Patreon thing, and I had a match last night, and my team was 20-16 at the end of the second round.
Wow.
We made it all the way to the sudden death, and we lost.
No.
I know exactly what that's like.
It's a
best example. Ben, I think I definitely know how you feel, because I'm part of Mark Riley's Patreon, and I did one of his little Schmoedown hangs. I played against him in a team. My team was ahead all the way to that last round. Riley was able to catch back up. He caught back up, and then it just fell into us. I missed our 3-pointer, and when we got to our 5, we were going back and forth, and then finally we dropped it. We got it wrong, and I was just, son of a bitch, this sucks. We were ahead 6 points, and how do we lose?
And I love a comeback. But there's something, I just find it like, I guess it's maybe just as a manager, because I feel like I love when there's a lesson. I love when I can say like, hey, you shouldn't have spent all your JTEs on a question that you really didn't, or hey, you know what I think went wrong here is you should have checked down in round 2 because you weren't confident enough. And then that person got a 2-point steal. And that was that, I love when there's a lesson. I love when there's something tangible, because it's like, great, we can focus on this. We can work on this. This is in our control. When it's just, you didn't know the name of the daughter. Like if it's like, when it comes down to the 5-pointer, like, what am I supposed to say to the person? Well, no more next time. I mean, it's like, there's no takeaway. So I think that's why I find it so frustrating as a manager. It's just like, you outplayed them. You were leading the whole time. Your gameplay was immaculate. You didn't know your 5-pointer. I got nothing for you. I have nothing to, that is just like, it's just a feel. It's like if you're playing basketball and you're up ahead, and then all of a sudden your net falls down. And so now you got no place to even make baskets anymore. It's like, well, this,
like, you take the key player, like if the key player decides to sit out for the last 6 minutes because you're in a strong lead, and then next thing you know, the team comes roaring back. You're wondering what happened. Was it like, it always like millions? That's why it makes these matches so enjoyable to rewatch,
Yeah.
because even if you do know the conclusion, it's always good to like rewatch and just maybe even break down in your mind like, oh wait, they didn't go perfect in this round, and maybe that could happen. But then you rewatch and go, oh no, wait, they got courtroom dramas, or they got romance, or they got Oscars, and this what happened here. Like you can find so many reasons, but like you said before, sometimes you can play against someone who's playing a better game, and sometimes even though you know you're at that same level, you know it just always comes down to the questions you are given.
Yep.
Once you're past that first round, it's no longer on even ground.
Yep, exactly. And that's as I said, like not all of life has a lesson. Sometimes just bad shit happens. Sometimes you just get dealt a bogus card. Like, that's just the part of me that like likes to be able to control things or likes to be able to glean some sort of lesson out of, when life gives you lemons, and I'm sort of like, I don't have a lemon press though. Like I don't know how to make lemonade at this
You
point.
Lemons, just give me some salt and I'll just do a tequila shot without the tequila.
Exactly. When life gives you lemons, take a shot.
I like it. Life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get.
Yes. Yeah. It's true. Although I don't find that's altogether true, Ben, because I know which one the caramel is. I can tell by looking at it with the swirl on top.
Nice.
And you can easily tell which one has coconut in it because of the shape it is.
Yes,
if you slightly press it and you're like, yeah, that's coconut. And then if you see one with a little dash, like, oh wait, is that like an orange zest onto it? And like, wait, that's lemon? What the hell? When did lemon cream become part of chocolate?
I love the coffee flavored chocolate.
You do?
Yeah.
I like that too. Also, I see 50 Shades of Geek is here. Shana Tova. 50 Shades.
Love it.
Yeah, he's a friend of Osho's too.
We talked about the den, and honestly, he big love his energy. Love 50 out there.
Yes.
Great.
Yes. He's great. He's the best.
But going back off of what you said though too about, I'm like a guy who thinks of things half full sometimes.
Yeah.
Or half empty. Where I'm like, you did your best, you did all that you can do. And matter of fact, I played in a trivia game at the coffee shop that we have.
Oh, how
and
cool.
everything. And that's how I met a lot of good friends and stuff like that. But I remember we were like that. It was like our last question. It was like and basically what we do is we wager so many points at the end of the game. And then based off of that, that's what we do. Luckily for me, I'm a movie guru in our movie group and the group and everything. So I was able to get the points, but I can actually understand where you're coming from, where it takes your breath away, especially if someone doesn't know that last question. And it's that 5-pointer that could actually either make them or break them. But then if you build them up with their next confidence going into the next game, it's, you take the good with the bad. It's like, look, you played your game right. You used your JTEs right. You played it to your heart and to know what you did. And, to me, that is the strong point. That is where they can build their confidence at.
Yeah.
And I understand that all eyes are on you because you're the manager and stuff like that, and you're being looked on. But it's also hard to tell someone, hey, look, don't feel so bad because look what they accomplished in this game. And just keep on going for yourself and build yourself up too while you're trying to build them up. Yeah. Because you're doing everything that you can do as a manager and everything. Yeah. And stuff like that too. And you're doing a fantastic job at being a manager. You're very welcome. Because I know it's very hard to, especially when all eyes are on you and that person doesn't make that 5-pointer. It's like, oh my God, what did I do wrong? And you have that anxiety of guilt and everything. It's like, what did I do wrong? Did I do everything right to help that person? Am I the reason why they missed that 5 or 10-pointer or 5-pointer? Is it me? What did I do? Just take a slow, deep breath and just check yourself. Look, they play their best to their abilities. I was there behind the scenes and also in front, help them calm their nerves. I need to calm my nerves though too. So let me just go and check myself before I break myself kind of situation.
Yeah. Totally.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Because we can be our own worst enemy when it comes to our own thoughts.
Yeah. There have definitely been a couple of matches where I can say definitively I was part of the loss. Like the decisions I made we all know Festival Darlings, no question about that.
Actually, right? Kate, the thing is, I'm one of the few that actually supported your decision to go with Festival Darlings, honestly, because
Really?
one thing Ben and I have gone through while we watching this show. I mean, we're watching all these old matches. I've seen plenty of times where a competitor will get their strength either through like landing on or getting Smear's choice, and then they'll maybe get one of 4 questions in it, especially in teams Intergeekdom and Star Wars. So I understand people were like, I understand the comments were against you, but I'm like, no, in a way it made sense because not only were you removing that obstacle from your players just in case they land on it, you could have gotten some good steal opportunities. I mean, let's say, you were going up against Duraldi and Whitney, and let's say they got a question, Festival Darlings, that they have not seen or they don't know specifically on, and guess what? They missed it, and even if Tom and Paul didn't get it, guess what? There was no advantages given. Believe me, everyone likes to do those little, like, get the torch and pitchforks and like, oh, why did you give him that slice? I'm like, have you guys not watched the Schmoedown at all? Many players get their strengths and they miss out on them. I mean, for God's sake, Ben and Guy were in action, and they're not great in action adventure when it comes with the slice. Broca's admitted he's missed a lot of Westerns questions. So
yeah,
it's out there. I don't think it was a bad decision. It just didn't. The cards just weren't in your.
It wasn't an educated decision on my part, which is part of the problem. Like, I just didn't know Whitney and Alonso well enough to, so. But at the end of the day, like, I take accountability for that, but also, like, you're not wrong. I mean, look at what happened at Collision. Kalinowski and Chance, got like an IG slice, and I was like, and then they missed. They checked down twice, which I was like, you guys are both. What are you doing here? Like, but that happened. I mean, it just depends on the depth of the wheel slice. Like, if it's somebody's strength, but if Oprah's your strength, but Oprah's been spun a bunch this year, like, you're probably getting into those deep dives, and it stops really being about Oprah and ends up being more about like the third lead in a movie that Oprah was in, So it's, I mean, yes, I appreciate your defense of me. In full disclosure, it was just an uneducated give that, it was a wheel slice they didn't want, my guys didn't want, and so I was like, all right,
You're supporting the players. Yeah, right.
Yeah, but I should also be like, actually, they're both film critics. I think that's going to be a misstep. But I do feel like there are definitely times when I'm like, yes, this is definitely me. And then I feel like the sort of the overarching thing this season has been, this just happened to us. Like, it just happened that, it just happened that this 5-pointer was really hard. The Jader Janine match, like, just to this day plagues me because he just outplayed her at every turn. Every round he was up, and he just didn't know his 5, and that's like, it's just a bummer. It's a bummer. That's all.
Yeah,
I
love
Janine, but
yeah, Janine Jader match was great. Even when Jessica went up against Frankie Alvarez in that match, like, it was a bit kind of like a toss-up between the two of them. When they got to sudden death, that was like one of the most surprising outcomes of that match, because Jessica, she did a great job going up against Beth, and then you see her holding herself very well. I mean, she slipped a little bit in round 2, but that's fine. I mean, she was still maintaining a very close game against Frankie, but it really just goes to show Frankie just happened to get better cards dealt to him in that match. So when sudden death came by, we're just going, okay, who's gonna make that miss? It took me back to when Peggy went up against Rick Rager. Like, Peggy had gotten that 3-pointer, no sudden death. Even then, I'd say that, I mean, I was discussing this with Ben when we were talking about the whole bracket, the singles bracket. I saw that before, I mean, Jessica's match with Dannery came out, but even then, Jessica, Alonso, and Peggy had the potential to probably pull out some surprising upsets and have you guys just dominate that left side of the bracket to where we could have gotten 2 Den players in the finals. I mean, now that Jessica's match has been released, it's not happening. But even then, I had even though the odds were against, I thought Jessica could have pulled probably one of the biggest upsets, beating Dan.
And that's, that is always I think part of the problem when you put together a singles tournament as a manager is you have to, you have the records determine their slot, right? So Jessica being, 1-1 gets her Dan in the first round. You know what I mean? So it's sort of like, So what do? Do I say like, oh, I got to pull out of the tournament? Or do you say like, no, because honestly, there is the hope because she is that good, because like he has stumbled before, because Andrew Guy beat him one, you know what I mean? Like, so you just sort of, even though it's, there's nothing you can like, I wish that in the first round she was playing somebody else who was 1-1. Yeah, that'd be cool too. But like, then the goats are all going to eat each other, and that's not going to be, then you're going to have like, it's just going to be, I understand why they do what they do, because it makes way for massive upsets. And I don't know. I get why it happens. And that's exactly what you're saying. It's like, if she could have pulled off the upset, that's historic at that point. That a rookie beat Dan Merlin in the tournament,
Yeah, I mean, her season may be over, but I still think next year she can have the possibility, just like every other player, to start going on a killer run. I mean, all it takes is just one match, and depending on who she's against, can change the. I mean, opinions in this community can change by the time a match is over with. I mean,
right.
Saul, best opportunities. Everyone was behind Saul, and then that loss he had against Amaru, people started to doubt him. But then what happens? He beats Hannah, and then I don't want to spoil that match against Moose Haas if anyone in the chat has not watched. But even then, Saul shows that he learns from his mistakes. Even like so many, that's the best thing you can show as a competitor. Learn from your mistakes and improve upon them. And definitely I will say this, okay, when I loved both of your characters last season and this season.
I loved it. People hated her last year.
I was actually I think that's fair. Draft. I was there live at the draft when you busted out that accent. And I loved how I loved how the decision was to stick with it. It made you a very, polarizing the community, but you stood out. Especially during when we were all doing digital matches. Your skits, your back and forth with Ken, Winston, Kaiser, even when you had Grace on there, it was fantastic. It was very entertaining. It made at least an hour of the day during last year that 1 hour made at least most of 2020 very easy to get through because of the content we were getting. And at that time, we needed a lot of characters. And I needed entertainment. And one thing I loved about the Schmoedown that Christian, of course, and being a wrestling fan, myself being a wrestling fan, is characters. And I love the fact that we were getting characters last season.
Yeah. And I do think I think the fear I had in my debut season as a manager was I didn't want to fade into the background. And I also wanted to be very clear that the things I say as the manager is different than the things Kate Mully. Like, I just was very nervous about how, because I don't know if people will attack me personally. I just didn't understand the community yet. So I sort of was like, well, my comfort zone is to not be myself. And this year you can see I'm definitely being more of myself as the manager. So it's not like really a performance. But what she's sort of like an amped up version of me. But I don't know. I do feel like I do sort of fade into the rest of them now. I'm not saying like, oh, somebody convinced me that I stand out, but there is definitely something about, like, I wore this, like, had the same costume, like the backwards shirt, the blue shirt, and like the high, and like always pulling something out of the fanny pack. And and now I'm just another talking head that comes in and says, okay, where's your head at? So I do miss the fun of that character, because I do feel like, but I don't think I do think I'm more valuable as more of myself to my players than I was last year. I was too worried in between rounds about, did I do the bit correctly? Then what does this person need from me right now?
One takeaway I can say from what you're doing this season, and I'm not going to go into too much, but that match with Harper and Demolanta, you did stand out a little more than Coy did as a manager in that match. There were choices, there were advice that you gave and tactics you did that really helped Harper with his performance. And I'm not saying Coy didn't do a good job either, but like in most other matches, Coy or Roxy or Winston, or Shannon, they'll sometimes get the same advice to their players after a round, like check in on them. But you made a slight difference in this match. And I'll even say when Saul went up against Moose, like even then, or when Riley played up against Bateman. You and Riley were just having a conversation more than it was just like, oh, a manager trying to advise their player. And that's what I like you were doing. You're most likely having general conversations, even with your back and forth with Harper in the tournament. I loved it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he and I sometimes, he and I sometimes plan out like, okay, well, here's some, especially because part of the character that I have with him is that I get Star Wars things wrong, right? That I say the wrong thing. Mm-hmm. And that because I'm the general to him, that he's not going to correct me, right? So sometimes we have to, I don't want him to be blindsided by that in the middle of a match. So sometimes I'll say like, okay, I'm going to say Sudoku Tanu today. I'm going to say, instead of Grogu, I'm going to say Gogurt. So I'll sort of like plan that sort of thing out. So we knew I was going to, with the code, I was going to talk about Gold Leader, and he was going to be like, that is unacceptable, there's stuff like that. But yeah, for the most part too, like he, I don't, no spoilers. Also, by the way, Caffey Ann, I gotta tell you, or Coffee Ann, I don't, I might be saying.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out.
You gotta know that I'm gonna have to use that. That's amazing, that line. What you said in the chat. I'm gonna steal that from you. I'll try to credit you, but wow. But no, again, no spoilers on this match, but round one didn't feel good. And I think you have an option to let that feeling take over you, or you have an option to say, there's 4 rounds left. This is a 5-rounder. I do think if round one looks that way in a 3-round Star Wars match, the way the Star Wars matches have been going, I don't think you can be down. But I mean, look at the Gold Leader Harper match, right? Gold Leader missed what did he miss? One question?
Yeah, just one question. Or the whole match. Ace against Harper too. Ace missed a couple questions in round 2, and we saw the tide change.
Yeah. It's just like, and Harper missed some in that match too. I mean, Harper, that was the first match that Harper ended up missing in, and that was we had to get used to that feeling for Harper, is that Harper can sometimes miss. I think now he's played more games not missing than he has missing. I think he didn't miss in the Whiteley match. He didn't miss in the he missed in the Demolanta match, and he missed in the Ace match. I think he's checked down. He checked down.
Yeah, he checked down against Witt. He checked down
against Witt. Yeah, he checked down against Witt. Witt, by the way, played like, you go back and you think like Adam Witt played that way against Thomas Harper. You're like, damn. That if you're Adam Witt, you got to be discouraged that your first match out is against this monster, and he played lights out, against him. But yeah, I mean, like, so like you look at all those matches and you're like, wow, he's played more matches, 3 to 3. He's played more matches not missing questions than he has missing questions, and so we have to get used to that feeling, and we have to know that missing a question, especially in a 5-rounder, does not mean the end. Missing a question in a 3-rounder, we got to get our shit together. I mean, we can't miss in a 3-rounder. So if he has any more, but the good news is if he does have any more matches this year, it will be a 5-rounder. No spoilers.
So my question has been this for you though, Kate, is before I head out and everything, because I have something I have to take care of. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to get going soon too.
But no, it's cool. But no, what I wanted to ask you was this, like, this is something else I appreciated, was the fact that you had to do something to make yourself stand out in like last season and everything. And then what made you decide, hey, look, I want to get rid of the accent and everything and just go as myself, but also have like a little bit more of a hyped up version of myself? Because don't get me wrong, I love the accent that you did. I even liked it when you threw in the accent when you were smack talking with Paige about the who's the Boston badass. I liked how you threw that in for this season. I thought it was great. But what made you decide, hey, look, I want to go on ahead. I've done the accents. I've done my part where now I needed to be upfront and center as myself.
It was sort of an agreement that Christian and I had. Like, he was letting me try something out, and he sort of directed this, saying she's got to go, I think. And I was like, okay. I mean, the truth is, like, it's acting, right? So he's the director. And if he says like, this is not working for the brand, then you don't do, I mean, and that goes for like, if I was tweeting out horrible things, he'd say that does not work for the brand. You know what I mean? Right. Like, and that is what being employed looks like. You know what I mean?
Okay.
You do, so it was really, and I agreed with him. Like I did want to be more valuable to my players than I think, I was very focused on like being funny during matches last year, like making sure I'm like, oh God, like, oh, that was a scary round, huh? Oh God. Like, I don't think that actually helps a person who's like legitimately trying to play a game and is like, okay, now I've got to engage her while she does her jokes. Okay, thank you. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just, I just feel like it's, I don't know. I'm glad that the decision was made that we are going to go a different route. I did not have, I think I was when I was repainting my kitchen before the draft. And I was like, sort of, I was thinking like, I want this character to be like very cerebral. I want her to be like a little bit more data driven. And so like the way it started out, and that's what the glasses came. Those are my real glasses that I wear, but only for distance. But I was like, oh, she's going to be somebody that's like, okay, well, let's do some fact checking, shall we? Like and so there's like a little, like she's sort of got a faster pace of talking. She's going to, then you just find certain things that like, if any of the announcers talk to me or tell me how many seconds are left, I'll scream, shut up at them. So I just sort of thought like librarian, like librarian,
I can see that.
like come at it with intellect and spunk. And that it sort of has evolved. I think it started off as a much, I want to say that I made it even during that time, like when you're painting a kitchen, you just have a lot of time to talk to yourself. So I was just like, started coming up with her. And I feel like I gave Christian like a video. I was like, what about her? And he was like, yeah, that's fine. Great. Let's try that. And then the draft, I mean, you don't talk a lot, but in the draft, or at least the way it was done this year. And I felt like that being succinct was really cool for her too. Anyway, I over talked the point, but yeah, it sort of, I think it sort of shifted, but
you did get a lot of people. You didn't press people. I mean, like after the draft, the players were showing their reaction getting drafted. Lacey Gunn was pretty much just showing like throughout the entire process of the draft, she was like becoming more and more like she was loving your character every time you kept popping on. So then when you did draft her, the excitement that she had was incredible.
I love Lacey. Lacey's been such an asset to our faction too. And that's another heartbreaker for me because she went up against, I mean, her match was against Gold Leader. Yeah. He ended up being fantastic. You know what I mean? Like she's fantastic. And I just wish you guys got to see her more this season. But yeah, I always like try to think too, like what's my most sometimes some of the thoughts gone out as the season's gone on, and it's like I'm rushing to get back to do a taping. But a lot of times I'll have like her in a collared shirt, or I'd have her in like something that I would like one of my work outfits, like something I'd wear to work, as opposed to like you don't usually see her in like a Diagon Alley, a t-shirt, like tank top. But yeah, the librarian, 50 Shades of Geek. So.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go on ahead and head out, but I'm gonna go before I do that though. I'm just gonna do my plugs real quick if that's cool with you, Ryan. Yeah. Okay. Right, yeah. So I just want to say, Kate, thank you for everything that you do and everything. I've been a fan of yours since you started and everything, and also with the podcasting and everything too. Before I do my plugs, but just thank you for everything that you do. Seriously.
Oh, thank you so much. And thank you, John, a true hero out there working in a nursing home. Hello.
Thanks. Thank you.
Unbelievable. Seriously though, man.
Thank you.
You mean the world to those people and their families. So thank you.
Thanks, Kate. That means so much. That means so much to me.
Yeah.
But guys, okay, if you guys want to go ahead and follow me, you guys can go ahead and follow me at Movie Lovers TV Lovers Night on Facebook, and of course on Instagram and Pinterest as well. Get this, Tuesday at 8 o'clock Central Time, 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific Time, I actually am interviewing Rivka Reyes from School of Rock. She's coming on the show, and we're going to be doing that at 8 o'clock Central Time, 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific Time. And then on Monday, we're doing our Matrix talk, basically just talking about the trailer, diving deep into our theories and stuff like that. So I have an independent director coming on, talking about that, and also two Frenchies coming on the show as well. So we're going to be doing that at 8 o'clock Central Time, 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific Time. And then tomorrow night, I have an independent director. Him and I are actually going to be reviewing Malignant, which is that new James Wan movie that dropped. I did my non-spoiler review today, and then tomorrow we're doing our spoiler review. And then throughout the week, we have some other shows scheduled, so stay tuned for that. If you want an audio-only podcast episode, you can get it, guys can get that wherever you guys get your podcast from. Of course, you guys can go on our YouTube channel, subscribe over there. Then, of course, if you want to donate to the page, all you do is just go to gofundme.com/Movie Lovers Podcast. And I also teamed up with Two Blur Girls Podcast to do a charity for the people in Louisiana that lost their homes and things like that. So you guys get, if you go on ahead and buy a Cincy, you also don't, all the donations go towards the people of Louisiana because I wanted to give back. So that goes through the Red Cross. So go on ahead and do that. And then, of course, if you're a sponsor and want to reach out to me, just go on ahead and email me at movieloversunite@gmail.com. Of course, you can follow me at Movie Lovers Unit, and that's where everywhere that you can reach me at. And thanks again, Kate. Thanks again, Ryan and Ben. It's always a pleasure being in the company of friends and just talking about the Schmoedown and what it means to us. So thanks, man. I do appreciate it. And have a good rest of your day. And thanks again.
Thank you, John.
You're welcome.
Thank you very
Thanks.
much, brother.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
See you later.
We'll
I hope
see you
thanks.
soon, Ben. We'll see you soon.
And Ryan and Ben, do you guys I was thinking if you guys have one more question or if you want to have one more talk, I can stay like another couple minutes. But the other question is, will you guys be at Spectacular this year?
I'm still figuring that out.
Okay.
I want to. I gotta figure it out.
Okay.
gonna
Oh
try
yeah,
to
because you were
afford
saying
it to come.
transportation. Yes,
Yeah.
obviously transportation. Ryan
Yeah,
will come get you. Okay.
I mean, I got a brother who works at a car rental company, so I can work something now.
No, I'm just kidding. Well, you also, but Ryan, you actually, I mean, the good thing about it being downtown LA is that you can actually take the train in from San Diego.
That's true. I can. And
Yeah.
but yeah, I will definitely be there at Spectacular because I got like I have so many friends who are like part of we made a special messenger group so we can all find a hotel and we can all stay together throughout the weekend, not just for Spectacular. Some are going to be in, so we're all going to try to find times where we all can hang and then go to Spectacular.
Good.
So it's going to be fun. But regarding the question, I did want to bring up something that was in our chat from Galaxy Geeks channel where his question, like last season when Grace was your advisor or your consigliere.
Yes.
I think it was kind of interesting. Like, was it like the experience? Like, was it much fun, like working with Grace or as a manager? Like, it's curiosity. Like from his own question, I kind of like to know. Like, now that you're doing it on your own, if the option or Christian gives you a storyline to where he's gonna want you and Kate working together again for the Den,
right?
Like, I mean, obviously, it's kind of like, yeah, you're employed though. But if the option was presented to you, would you want to take it?
Absolutely. I loved working with Grace, and I feel like she's such a consummate professional. Like, and I feel like, I haven't been given any scenes to do this year. Like any promos that I cut them myself. But like when you got Grace, you're gonna cut a scene, like, because Grace can act. I loved working with her. I think my role as the man, I really did. For the most part, I was the one that was in touch with our players last year. And she was sort of like she and I would consult and stuff. But so that part hasn't really changed very much. Like, that doesn't feel different. Like, oh, now I have to call the players this year. That was what Grace used to do. Like, it's still like my role still sort of stayed the same. And I think Christian did that, especially because I think just to make me feel better about stepping into it. Like, he just gave me the warm blanket that was Grace. Like, here's if you need anything, she's there, but like, try to figure it out yourself. And she and I had a fun dynamic, and it was fun. We were heelish. Yeah, we're heels, right? I do think I am better as a face. I don't even know what you would call me. I think I'm like a Hace. I'm like a heel face.
I mean, the wrestling term would be a tweener because you jump back and forth. But I like yours. A Hace is much better.
I'm a Hace.
Roll off the tongue.
Yeah.
No. Actually, there is one thing I wanted to ask. I think this is just me personally wanting to ask. I know this season it's been difficult with scheduling, wanting to get people to play a match.
Yeah.
And as someone who watched the progress of the Den last year and seen big. I'm just not going to be around the bush. Rachel Silvestrini. With her involved, like when you got her again this year, I was wondering what was going to be like. And then when I saw that you had formed Ben and Paul as a team, of course, was it a hard decision to come across not having Ben and Rachel work together again?
Yes, because at the end of the day, I hope our faction does well, right? But I really actually care, and I know this is true about all of the managers, but I actually care about the human beings. I don't care about the players. I care about the human beings that are behind. So Rachel's somebody who I value so much. I felt like the chance, like because we're rebuilding from scratch, I felt like Paul and Ben were gonna. I really, in my head, envisioned them going on a run, and that was a hard decision to make because then it's insulting to Rachel that I did that, and then look at it. It didn't. How'd that work for me? She and Ben had a much better record than Ben and Paul did. So, it could have been a total mistake on my end to do it. I think.
I mean, look at the teams that Ben and Paul went up against. I mean, they played against Ethan and Liz the first time.
Yeah.
And then again, they played up against the press room. So it was always like, I think it was just kind of like, in a way, it was like last year before when you had Tom and Paul team. They just went up against more compatible players who were playing like better. We're just playing at a much not better level with it. They were having a better game compared to both of them.
I'm just relieved that Rachel Silvestrini is somebody who is so she's such a team player that she didn't. I'm sure it hurt her feelings. I'm sure. I mean, she really never she never stopped it. Some people might get so wounded by that and say like, well, since you don't believe in me, I'm not going to, and she never gave in. If she had those feelings, she never gave in to them. And I'm telling you, she is truly one of the heartbeats of this whole entire faction. Yeah. I've said it a billion times, but it bears repeating is that, you ask anybody on this faction to raise their hand if Rachel Silvestrini has ever helped them train for a match, and every hand would be up. So, and that just goes to show like her season starts off getting drafted as late as she did, which immediately I'm sure felt horrible for her. And then the next thing is I've not put her with Ben after they had such a great season. I was trying to blow the thing up. I was trying to try different combos, have different priorities. And, especially because I signed Ben and Paul, I have to go with because they were signed. I have to then say to them, part of the deal, I can't promise you any other teammate. Yeah. So what I can promise you is you guys can be together, and then we'll see who we draft. And if there's something else that makes more sense, that's fine. But the truth is, that's I can't. And when I was trying to get Merle or when I was trying to get Bateman, I'm like, right now, listen, this is who I think I want. But if that's not you guys, if I can get you, tell me who you want. I will get you the partner you want. Tell me who it is, And I think, Paul and Ben probably both had other offers. I can't express how much I appreciate them sticking with me. And, the part of that was I think they were excited to play together too.
No, I do agree with that. I mean, look, the draft this year, I mean, let's be honest, the introduction of this draft, it really throws in a lot on your plate as a manager, especially last season when you guys had to retain 3 people. And then when you came with that draft, oh my God, I swear, what was the feeling like? I'm pretty sure you were asked this before, but when you had gotten Marisol, traded her, but you were able to take advantage of that and get so many a lot of fresh talent on your team. I'm pretty sure a lot of people were really going back and smacking themselves in the head, oh, why did we criticize Kate for trading Marisol for an extra draft spot? I'm like, you guys
2 extra draft spots.
Yeah, 2 extra draft spots. But yeah,
I got Shannon's first 2 picks.
Exactly. But at the same time, I'm realizing, has nobody ever felt? Is nobody a diehard sports fan? Because even then, general managers, when they are given an opportunity to trade in what could have been maybe a key player for 3 picks that could secure their future or help reshuffle their team, I'm going from a sports perspective, that was a smart play to make. And look at what you got. You got Harper first round. You got Mark Riley. You got Duralde. You got Peggy. You got Jessica Sloth. You got
the main thing to note in that though, Ryan, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, but the main thing to note is that I was going to get pick 3 and then pick like 14 or something if I didn't do the Marisol deal. Because I did the Marisol deal, I got spots 8 and 9 because Shannon had the turnaround pick, right? So in 8 is I pick Alonso. In 9, I pick Saul. Marisol will have to win a belt to have made as many points for me as Saul made for me this year. So to me, even if I didn't even get Alonso, the fact, because I'm telling you, I know for a fact Saul was not going to be available for me on 14. Saul was in talks with so many managers, and he has always, and I don't think he would hide this, his priority was getting back to me. My priority was getting him. But there was no way he was still going to be there. Like whatever it was, I forget how the math works. I was like 14. Yeah, I think it was 14. I think it was like I was going to have number 3 and 14. So adding in numbers 8 and 9 is how I got my Saul back. And I think what people said is like she could have gotten more. I couldn't have gotten more. That was like Shannon didn't even want to do that deal. Right. So that's fine. You can say I didn't get enough, or you can say like that was stupid. Marisol's so valuable, but that's because you're not realizing how valuable Saul is. And that's who I got at that point.
And even then this season, I mean, Marisol, she's having a great season, but
she's amazing.
Time, during those first 3 to 4 months, anything really could happen. I mean, best example, Adam Collins. Look at what happened last season. Great. It came in halfway, blew through the singles tournament, had the belt. But then this season, he loses early season. He loses the belt to Dan and can't play a singles match to the tournament. Then he loses, but then this is mini tournament, loses to JTE, and now he's in the singles tournament again.
Yep.
And it's nothing to reflect on Collins as a player. It was just the game he was given. And him and Marisol as a team of deception. They lose to Danger Zone, and then they play again. They lose to Lightning Time. Now they're in the tournament. So it's all about where they were placed. And picking Saul. Saul got you a lot of it. Saul and Harper were definitely your main points. And
no question.
2 great decisions. And of course, for me, and me bringing back to Rachel, I mean, I think some of the unluck she was given. Ben knows how I felt when I saw that card of her going up against Paige. I was pissed because I love both Paige and Rachel, and I'm like, put them against anybody else other than each other. But I'm like, looking at their records, unfortunately, Rachel, and we Ben and I say this a lot when we talk about players on here. We always say it's not, their records do not reflect them as a player.
No.
Rachel's record should never reflect her as a player.
No, and her record would also look very different if we were allowed to count every win she helped someone else get.
Yes.
She would just be undefeated. I mean, truly, it's
I have a question.
Yeah.
You mentioned you were talking to Dan about coming on the 10 this season. How close did that get?
I think I was in the running of the top. I think it was me and 2 other managers. I'm sure one of them was Kaiser, since that's what we went with. I think there was 3 of us and I think he was very, I mean, Dan is like, you don't find a better human than Dan Merle. So he was a stand-up guy, and he was always going to tell me and let me know and not keep me on the hook. And he didn't do any of those things. But I believe he said, he's like, no, I think, basically the only thing I had to offer, and I understand why these belt holders, previous or otherwise, didn't want to come to me. I don't think I can say like I've got great management, because think about it, what everybody knew of me was just the accent character at that point. Nobody had seen me like do an earnest day's work of like really mid. I mean, I did some things last season, but like for the most part, it was just sort of a bit, right? So I think with Dan, I talked to him. I was like, listen, what I can offer you is 3 spots. I can offer you 3. I won't lock anybody in. I'm thinking about doing this deal for Marisol, but if you tell me like you can help me build this team, and I said the same thing as Bateman. I'm like, what I can offer you is openness. Like, you can help me construct this. And I think that was very appealing to Dan. But I think ultimately, being a faction mate with Smets, especially considering what he was going through. I think being a teammate with Bateman. I don't think there was a world in which I was going to get Bateman and Dan. I wasn't going to get them both for me. I think there was a while when I was talking to Bateman about like, I probably could get Paul. I probably could get Ben Goddard. Should we do the Bens? Like, and by the way, I still think Christian hated this idea so much, but when I did put Paul and Ben together, I wanted to call them Oyama and Bateman. And he was like, how can I sell t-shirts with Oyama and Bateman on it? But I was like,
not.
How could you not? Are you kidding me? I'm like, it works for 2 people. It works for 4 people. I mean, but like, that was what I wanted the team name.
Yeah, just have Oyama and Bateman and just have Paul and Ben's faces on them.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, if you're not it makes no sense. But if you're in the community, it's the best inside joke.
It's such a good inside joke. Coming now is Oyama and Bateman, Ben Goddard, and yeah. But yeah, I really think that they both were very kind and considered it, and I think ultimately Kaiser had a much sweeter deal. He had a better draft pick too. Let's be honest. When you get to draft 1, that's pretty good. And I think and Parker was. How did Kaiser have? Who did he lock?
Parker was third.
I think he was locked in.
Parker was locked in.
Parker was locked. So how are you gonna? I mean, if your option is you can build a team over here, or you can be with Ben Bateman and Robert Parker, and then get the first draft pick. Where do you go? You go with that. You go with the dungeon, and you can be on a faction with your guy, Kevin Smets.
Speaking of greatest humans, also they got Mara later.
So got Mara in that first spot. I mean, come on. I don't think either of those guys made the wrong decision going with Kaiser, and I'm glad, because if I had done any, I got exactly who I then ended up wanting to get, and was able to do the Marisol trade, and so.
I will say, since we're going to wrap up, I will say, regardless of this season so far, right now, from where you stand with the Den, I mean, so far we still got Peggy's match coming up against Collins. Yeah. We still got Duralde coming up. Mark, Riley, and Duralde as a team together. And
who knows? We'll try it.
I think it's possible, because Duralde, he's very good. He's a killer in the second round. And Riley, he has, I'm part of his Patreon, so I know Riley puts the work in.
Riley's unbelievable. Yeah.
And of course, now it's Saul in the IG tournament.
Yes.
I have I'm just going to say, this was released on YouTube. This is a spoiler. He's going up against Parker.
Yes.
Saul has an opportunity to pull probably a big upset against Parker. He's going to go in against a 5-rounder for the first time. And if he wins, he's automatically guaranteed to go to the Spectacular. So Saul, it's literally, he has nothing to lose and everything to gain going in against Parker. And with Riley, and I have a lot of hope for Peggy and for Duralde. So I'm saying, as far as I'm concerned, is there a chance? I don't care regardless of the faction title, but as far as I'm concerned, from what this whole thing, you can turn this whole thing around within the next 2 months.
Yeah.
And every decision that you've made will most likely take everyone in the community and realize that sometimes it's just being more, I don't know how to say it, but just being more locked in, more dedicated, or just being more of the in-match manager that you said does pay dividends when it comes with picking your players. I think nothing's set in stone. Nothing is set in stone.
Nothing's set in stone. I will say, I do think the 2 things would have to happen, which would be like the dungeon would have, like, in addition to our faction having to gain a lot of points, we would need the dungeon and the mercs. We would need a lot of factions to stop getting those points. Yeah. So I think part of the problem is that, like, the Den, for the most part, we've gone up only against. I think I've only gone up against Roxy once this whole season. For the most part, I'm managing against Sam, I'm managing against Gucci, and I'm managing against Koi. Those are I don't think I've had maybe only one match against Winston too. So for whatever reason, like when if my guys win,
with Kaiser.
Yeah, I don't even think, I don't know if I've gone against the dungeon at all until now. Obviously, Saul and Parker. So to me, I sort of feel like what I need wins against the dungeon so that when I'm getting points, they're not getting points. The problem is the dungeon's fighting other people. So they keep winning points over there. So it's not like they're not getting stopped. I don't think it looks good for us as a faction this season. But that being said, to me, that's not, okay, there's a cat, fine, that's a cash prize, fine, whatever. But that's not
important, honestly.
Honestly, I'm so proud that we're going to debut Ross. I'm proud that Thomas Harper has had the rookie season he's had, regardless of what happened last night in the pay-per-view, no spoilers. I'm so proud of the season that the Dens had, and that I'm proud of the teamwork. I'm proud of you couldn't actually get this faction to work harder or more together. And it's just, a lot of these losses this year, it is about the 5-pointer. There is, sometimes it wasn't, sometimes it was in-game mistakes that were made, but I think I'm fine wherever we land. I think if it was a draft year again, if we were going to be drafting again, I think there's real merit in finishing last because then I would at some point be like, throw the matches. We got to get last place so we get the first draft pick.
Kaiser proved that. He had the merit game last place.
Yeah.
So even if you win the title or not, you could go in the draft looking like you're going to shake up the season.
Yep. And I think, so sorry for that. I'm so sorry. I think wherever we end, I'm so proud of what the individuals of this faction did. And, I'm sticking to it. I think, but again, I think you're absolutely right. I'm not trying to be negative here. I think there's of course a chance, but I think it has to be, we would have to have matches that were against those factions that are, and our win would have to be no points or taking points away from winning factions.
On your end, and you would have to either be giving like what Saul did against Musas, giving technical knockouts and giving knockouts and taking points away from those top spots. And I do agree. But even then,
it's funny. I think I'm so sorry, but I think recently, and it might be, this might be a spoiler, the standings, it was the standings as of the pay-per-view. So maybe I don't want to say this.
I don't know.
I was going to say, all I'm going to say is the same. It's the same.
I think one division. Oh. No worries.
Here we go.
I believe right now there is 21 points between us and the top spot, and then there's 21 points between us and the next people below us, the next faction below us. So it's like if I'm remembering correct, we would have to, somebody would have to gain. I think it's Winston would have to get 21 points to catch us, and we have to get 21 points to catch the dungeon right now.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if the points for Saul and Harper's match have been factored in yet, but at this point it feels to me like you guys are kind of you're kind of like you're neck and neck with Corruption and the FinSoc exchange at this point. That's what it feels like. But you depend whatever the outcome is with Saul's match coming up. Already enough. You've proven that you have completely shown this season that their changing tactics did help. I mean, the rookie season that Harper has had, Saul going from his last season to this season, the change he's had. Ben Goddard, I mean, despite the bad luck him and Paul have had, their performances in both their teams and their singles matches have been incredible.
Incredible.
Every player that you've had has put up incredible points, regardless of who they went up against. That's a great not silver lining, but that's a big positive I can say that the Den has put together. And we're able to help accomplish along with the Den.
Totally. And I mean, as I said, I'm proud of every single person on the faction, and I'm proud of the season we've had. I don't, wherever we happen to land. And I think, you don't have to win faction of the year to be holding belts at the end of it. And that's right now, the belts are we got our eyes on the prize. We want some, we're trading in as Kathy or Coffee.
The fanny pack.
I'm going to trade in some fanny packs for some belts this year, I hope. So.
Well, you're looking at it, you've been doing great. So
I mean, listen. Really, really hoping that it all works out.
Honestly, anything can happen. Trust me, believe me. You end this season, even if you end the season with just one belt, it does say a lot.
Yeah.
But
If we do, yeah.
Even then, right now, after this week, the Den is like on definitely. I was gonna say on a high, but I'm like on a high of what exactly?
you're on the high trajectory right now.
Trajectory, absolutely, yes.
That was the word that was escaping me.
Hopefully we've got some momentum going. I think singles points or singles tournament yields a lot of points. So I think we're going to see a huge shift in the standings, however the singles tournament turns out, because you play. It's different than the Star Wars tournament or the IG tournament, where you're playing like a couple matches and then you're in the finals of that tournament. Saul played 2 matches to get to where he is against Parker in the finals. Like singles tournament, you're playing like 4 or 5. I think it's like because there's 32. Yeah. So it's a point yielder, and if you get knocked out in the first round, you're missing. There's a lot of points left on the table then, because it's not just that round's points, but it's the potential next round's points. So I do feel like if we have somebody go on a run in the singles tournament, man, we could really turn this whole thing around. I'm so sorry. I do have to get going, though. I'm very sorry.
Perfectly fine. Yeah, definitely wrap this up here. Kate, thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
With us. And anyone who's here in the live chat, thank you all for joining us too as well. If you're catching this on the rewatch, let's leave a comment, leave a like on here on the video. We definitely enjoy this. I mean, we're not trying to be the best show out there, but we do love whenever we have people on here just to have like a good natural conversation about the Schmoedown, its impact on us, what we love about it, whether if we're just talking about a player's career or if we're talking about a faction in general. We just love the fact that this content that we've gotten so far this year and last year, how the Schmoedown has been a good constant for me throughout 2020, and how it's really been making this year for me, I won't say bearable, but kind of like give me a sense of normalcy.
I love that. Yeah, that's awesome. I'm so glad. Oh, Ben, I'm so glad to hear that. Yeah. And Ben, let me know what the travel restraints are for you. We'll see if we can work something out for you for Spectacular.
Yeah. My group, we have not yet sealed on our we haven't booked a hotel just yet. We're still working on room arrangements. If you're able to find a way out here, I can add you in onto us, so then you can be sharing rooms with us. And then we're working on carpooling to Spectacular.
Yeah. I'll figure it out somehow.
Yeah.
Somehow I'm gonna be there. I think. Anyway,
we heard it here first.
Yeah. Anyway, Kate, people don't know, where can people find you?
Oh, I'm my address, and I love that joke. It doesn't get old for me. My address is no, I'm sort of Twitter light and Instagram light, but I'm Katest mom ever at both of those places. I don't have Facebook, unfortunately, and I don't really know how to use TikTok. I guess I have a TikTok, but I don't know how to use it. Oh yes, thank you, Matt. And also Matt said something funny earlier. Matt Munoz. He said that he wished that we would have called the team "Been There, Damn That." I love that.
That is fantastic. Thank you, Matt.
Matt, we'll see you. We'll see you at Spectacular. I saw you're also going to be there.
He's one of the people I'm rooming with.
There you go.
Well, he's in California. He lives in California, so he's definitely people we're going to be seeing.
Oh, fantastic. Love it. Love it. Well, thank you guys so much for having me on. I really appreciate it. And this community is just so lovely. And Ben, Ryan, it's just so great to hang with you guys all the time. Whatever chat you may be in, whether it's Brett and Kate's Playdate or SCN or Big Thing, it's always just so good to see you guys. Your names pop up.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, this has been incredible. Ben, where can all the good people in the chat find you since we're wrapping up?
Yeah.
I'm on Twitter at Ben_Rainier. I'm all over the channel. I have 3 or 4 shows a week. Find me there.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
workhorse this guy is. And for everyone else, yeah, I'm Twitter light as well, but you can just follow my Twitter handle, caramel_pain. And also, I'm here on the Schmoes of the North channel with my buddy Ben and John for Mount Schmoedown. And also, I do weekly, and also for our Sunday show, as we do like a weekly review of the Schmoedown matches. And also, if anybody's fans of wrestling, I have a wrestling podcast I co-host with James Shimo, the sinister James Shimo, if you all know, on the First Class League. It is called Wrestling Rambles and Rages Podcast. It's available on Apple, Spotify, and Podbean. We've just got that bad boy back up and running. So every week we're going to be dropping an episode. So listen, keep your ears open.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Very cool. All right, we'll see everyone next week. Until then,
see you then.
bye. Have a good one.